morning, class. I am Sir RG Escalante. I will be your teacher for this subject. But before we start, let us stand for our opening prayer. Okay, class. Good morning again. Thank you. So, the title of our subject is Introduction to the Philosophy of the Human Person. In Tagalog, it is called Pambugan sa Pilosopiya ng Tao. Philosophy of the human person is important for us, especially for you, senior high school students for grade 11, because as a human person, we have the capacity to think and feel. That is why the philosophy of the human person was introduced to you in order for you to be a better person. Before we start for our lesson, we have to understand that we have a goal for this lesson. Our content standard is the learner understands the meaning and process of doing philosophy. We have performance standard. The learner reflects on the concrete experience of philosophical way. We have also a learning competency. Distinguish a holistic perspective from a partial point of view. From a holistic perspective of idea, some of us will go into a perspective that is a very partial perspective. In philosophy, we have to look at in a holistic form of ideas or understanding. So, what is philosophy? So, philosophy comes from two Greek words. Philos, which means love. Sophia means wisdom. So philosophy is the love of wisdom. So that is why it is called philosophy. Philosophy is the field that uses human reason. So as what I've said, philosophy uses human reason. It uses our intellect to ask questions that will ultimately lead to wisdom. So philosophy will teach us how to ask the right questions, which will lead us to wisdom. Okay? How do we philosophize to gain knowledge? So how do we philosophize in order for us to gain knowledge? So we have to differentiate holistic perspective from a perspective point of view. So holistic thinking is looking at the bigger picture from a partial thinking. Focuses on a specific aspect in our life, which is philosophizing is a holistic thinking. You cannot just think of a specific experience in your life, but you have to look at it in a holistic perspective. So that is the aim of philosophy. We have to think in order for us to gain knowledge. Okay, class, what can you say about this picture? This picture first. So, for example, your friend, they are in quarrel. So, what will you do to them? So, can you be biased to think of them, the both of them? So, you have to understand each other. What is the main root of the problem? So, that is philosophy. You have to balance their perspective. Each one has its own perspective. So, bakit sila nag-aaway? See? So, ang tanong doon is, hindi lang yung isa, kundi yung dalawa. Bakit sila nag-aaway? In a perspective that is, we think that we philosophize. Okay? So, bakit sila nag-aaway? So, hindi lang yung bakit niya inaway, kundi bakit sila nag-aaway. So, that is looking at a bigger picture of philosophizing. So, this one, can somebody read this one? Okay, what can you say about this picture? So, this picture will show you, I will read this one. If you do not study, you will end up like him. If you study well, you will be able to make a better world for him. So that is the aim of philosophy. Philosophy is a lover of wisdom. Philosophy will help us to think clearly, and not just to think clearly, but to gain wisdom in our experience. So philosophy will help us to to really understand the meaning of our experience and to help the world that we live. So, for your assignment, this is your assignment. You write this on your paper. Okay? So, who am I? So that is your assignment, okay? So you pass that on our next meeting. Who am I? Sino ako? So I will get that one on the next meeting. That is your assignment, okay? So that's all for today, class. Thank you so much. So before we end, we will have our closing prayer. Okay, thank you, class, and goodbye. See you next meeting.